We're here this morning because we're releasing a national research report called Home Economics that's about the domestic work industry in the United States. My family comes from the Philippines. I work for an organization called Damayan Migrant Workers Association. We're an organization of Filipino domestic workers, and there's a lot of domestic workers in my family. I was able to see the kind of abuse and exploitation that they experienced.
The National Domestic Worker Survey Project was a dynamic partnership of the National Domestic Workers Alliance and of the Center for Urban Economic Development at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and also of the Data Center. And the point of that working relationship was to collect the more than 2,000 surveys, actually 2,086 surveys, in these 14 cities to produce this first data-driven report. The survey was conducted in 9 different languages, and we interviewed domestic workers from 71 different countries. And we interviewed for this survey domestic workers who were nannies, elder caregivers, and house cleaners who were directly employed by their employers, not through agencies. There was no empirical data available, but there were many things that we knew because we'd been doing domestic worker organizing for many, many years. We knew that domestic workers were a critical part of the economy, that they make other work possible, that they make it possible that housekeepers and nannies make it possible for others to go to work. Domestic workers are not protected by the most basic labor standards. They're not protected by the National Labor Relations Act, the result of a decades-old invidious compromise made in Congress. Will come up again in the policy issues that we'll discuss a little bit later. Live-in workers are excluded from overtime provisions of the Fair Labor Standards Act. De facto domestic workers are excluded from Occupational Health and Safety Act, and there are also many state laws that explicitly exclude domestic workers. So these factors then combine to make domestic workers an especially vulnerable workforce, and conditions of this workforce reveal many, many other issues.
Faced with an impossible choice, of contesting harmful working conditions, or providing for oneself and one's family, most domestic workers choose the latter. They choose to work substandard jobs, and they endure these substandard conditions silently and privately. Anna was hired as a live-in nanny for a family of 4 in Midtown. She begins her workday every day at 6 in the morning when the children wake up, and she continues until about 10 p.m. at night after she's done cleaning the kitchen. She does this 7 days a week. She was promised to be paid $1,500 a month, but she only received $620. In other words, Anna's paid just $1.27 an hour. Now, I'll admit it to you, after meeting Anna and hearing her story, it's left a lasting impression on me. But make no mistake about it, Anna is not alone in terms of enduring grossly substandard pay and conditions. 70% of domestic workers earn less than $13 an hour. We found that 28% of nannies are paid below the minimum wage. 27% of caregivers are paid below the minimum wage, and 20% of housekeepers are paid below the minimum wage. For live-in workers, the problem of low pay is especially acute. The median hourly wage for live-in domestic workers is just $6.15 an hour, and 2/3 are paid below the minimum wage.
Myself, as a domestic worker, I experience all the hardship that we are excluded from the basic laws. So that's really hard, that we are exploited, we are working long hours, no day off, no food to eat. We even get sick, but we have to work.